In today's video, we're going to be talking about Calcaun's past life. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Different Breed, aka The Stronghold, and if you haven't been here before, this channel goes over games through the forms of gameplay, tutorials, and other adventures like this video. So if you haven't seen any video in this series, we're going to be going over this operator's background and not anything game mechanic-y. If you find yourself in enjoyment at any point, consider sharing this with somebody. So without any further ado, let's find out who Calcaun is, or as you may know him, Vigil. As I just mentioned, Vigil's real name, well, as real as we got, you'll find out about that later, is Calcaun. He was born on January 17th, 1984, which makes him 35 years old now. Vigil is a pretty secretive being. His birthplace is unknown to us, although I do believe that he was born somewhere in North Korea. The reason I believe that is because what we know from his childhood. We don't know much about Calcaun's childhood, but the parts of it that we do know, it's actually pretty sad. He and his family were escaping across Asia as refugees, or they could have been criminals. Calcaun is not clear on it one way or another. We aren't sure of how old he is at this point in his life either, which could be a factor in him not remembering all the details. Fair warning, this is where the sad starts. Through their journey across Asia, they had to cross a river, and that river ended up taking the life of his brother. For an entire month, they were trapped in a safe house in which they had to stay nearly silent the entire time. He watched some of his fellow travelers get arrested by soldiers during a train ride. His mother got sick at some point and ended up slowing down the whole family as they were crossing through a jungle. She slowed them down so much that they ended up leaving her behind, and his father told him not to cry, not even to make a noise because it would alert the armed patrols. It's commands like this that formed Calcaun. Everything was about hiding who he truly was. Everyone told him if you said anything or acted with any strange behavior, it would get him caught. This eventually caused him to be uncomfortable in social situations and become anxious when it comes to his own body language and expressions because he isn't certain on how others might interpret his actions. It was a life or death situation, not wanting to betray his parents and be the reason why they were captured. He buried his emotions deep and became a stone to the outside world. After all of Calcaun's endeavors, he and his family gained asylum in South Korea. This is why I think he was born somewhere in North Korea. But just gaining asylum doesn't mean that they get a happy life. The loss of his wife and one of his sons was too much for Calcaun's father to handle, and he ended up committing suicide, leaving his son an orphan. Calcaun still kept that stone wall up and never showed emotion even through his father's passing. Calcaun's orphan life is unknown, and he was adopted into the Hua family, who thought the best thing for Calcaun was to forget his past and move forward, which they started by changing his full name to Calcaun Hua. This is why I said earlier, this is as real of a name as we can get, because we don't know what his birth name actually was. Calcaun was actively encouraged to forget about his real name as a way to erase the past, which of course, being the same set of rules he grew up knowing, it was easy to follow. It gave him a reason to stay as the stone he so hardly formed. Although Calcaun was also one to push away and hide his feelings, that didn't mean he didn't have any. He adored South Korea for taking him in, and he wanted to give back to them, so he entered the ROK Navy. If you didn't know, ROK stands for Republic of Korea. While in the Navy, I believe, he was deployed to Afghanistan in what I can only assume is to be a part of the support efforts in helping to recover Afghanistan from the years of civil war. If we move west on the map over to Iraq, we can find another place in which Calcaun was involved in, and that is in Kurdistan. He was a part of the Zayton operations, which is interesting because the Zayton division was an ROK army division, and yet we have been told that Calcaun went right into the Navy in order to give back to South Korea. But there is no mention of the Navy partaking in any of these operations. The Zayton division was in Iraq to carry out peacekeeping and other reconstruction related tasks, which kind of aligns with the Afghanistan deployment that he was in before. So they kind of relate in that way, but again, it was done by the Army, not the Navy. And it was pretty cool for me, and it's probably going to be pretty cool for you, to find out that when you translate from Arabic, Zayton means olive. So it's like they are giving out an olive branch to those in need. I like it. But yeah, how was Calcaun a part of the Zayton operations if he was in the Navy and not the Army? Kalkaun must have been in the Navy for a good amount of time because he was also part of the Chonghae Anti-Piracy Task Group. This was established by the ROK Navy to protect the civilian ships near the coast of Somalia under Combined Task Force 151. This man was stopping the pirates. And you know what? He did it well enough that he earned himself a spot in the ROKN UDT/SEALs. So yeah, he became a Navy SEAL. And not only did he do it well enough for that, but he did so well that he was handpicked by the 707th Special Mission Battalion White Tigers. In fact, he was so good that when South Korea was given an opportunity to send 2 operators into Rainbow, Kalkaun was at the top of the list. We are not sure where Kalkaun got his nickname from, but it is pretty fitting for him. If you don't know, a vigil is a period of staying awake during the time usually spent asleep. This resembles who Vigil is and how he has grown up. Always being alert, always watching out, and ready for anything. Kalkaun is almost always seen wearing a mask because that is when he is most comfortable. He feels as though he can actually breathe when he is beneath the mask because it provides to him another layer of protection from the outside world. Speaking of protection, Kalkaun attempts to keep Grace, or as you may know her, Dokkaebi, on her best behavior. But why? What does she do? Honestly, I don't know. So we will have to find that out by going over her backstory. What we know is that Kalkaun knows that Grace has made some enemies in the ROK military who want to see her gone. So he takes it upon himself to try and protect her from that by making sure that he has nothing negative to report back. He does this because he knows that she values her position in Rainbow just as greatly as he does, and he sees her rights and freedoms as the very things he swore to protect. Kalkaun also has ties with more Rainbow operators, such as Craig or Blackbeard. The reason behind Kalkaun confining in Craig is because he trained under Craig during joint training exercises. One strange connection Kalkaun has is being a friendly target of Mark, or as you may know him, Mute, who tells Kalkaun that he is too quiet. Yes, Mute. Telling someone that they are too quiet. But you know who shouldn't be quiet? You! That is, if you find yourself enjoying this video. You should share this with somebody. Who else would you like to see? You can also check out another operator's backstory by clicking on the playlist. I do have other content from Siege and other games available on my channel as well. If you did enjoy, I would appreciate it if you click that like button. It really helps me out. If you want to read more about the things that I've said here, links will be provided in the description. So until next time, stay different, everybody.